Let's get it. Alright, where do I begin? Halloween, the 2007, written and directed by the man Rob Zombie. He directed movies, well, his first film, he directed House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, which just recently came out and I have not seen it. I had the opportunity to buy it from Walmart, like it was in my hand, but I did not get it. But I am going to get it next Friday and I might review that one, maybe. And he also directed 31, which I thought was alright, just like any of his other films, you know, scary, funny, silly, you know, all at once. After Halloween Resurrection, they decided to reboot the entire franchise and give Rob Zombie the opportunity to direct it. And Rob Zombie wanted to direct it in his own way. Now when it comes to horror remakes, I don't really get that mad because, you know, it's just pretty much the same thing from the original, just in either they're going to switch it up or it's going to be a different imagination from how another person interprets it. If you've seen my review for Child's Play, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. When it comes to remakes, it can be pretty hard to please people because when a person directs a remake from the original, like if they make it just like the original, like everything in the story is the same thing, people will complain about it. Or if you make a remake that's the same as the original but you switch it up a bit, or if you make it a little modern, people will still complain. I can't really get that mad when it comes to remakes because, you know, it's just pretty much how a different person interprets it. Even John Carpenter said when he gave Halloween franchise to Rob Zombie, he didn't care. He said in one of his interviews, he said that it's when you make a movie, it's yours now. It's yours. You can do whatever you want. You can make a movie and how you interpret it. And I give respect to how Rob Zombie made this movie. But I'm not going to say that it's the best, but it's not the worst. So this movie, in my opinion, can be pretty controversial because, like I said, when it comes to remakes, it can be pretty controversial. Like, people will say that this movie is such a copycat from the original, or it's a different, nasty, silly version of it. In my opinion, about this movie, the Rob Zombie's Halloween, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. Now let's talk about some little positives here. What I like about the movie, I do like the cinematography, and I do love how he gave the backstory about Michael Myers, starting from when he was a kid and what he did all this crazy stuff, all the way till he became an adult. 15 years later, he escaped and tried to go after Laurie Strode. And I'm not going to really get into detail about what the movie is about because it's pretty much the exact same thing as John Carpenter's Halloween. You know, he has a little backstory and he gets locked up in a psycho hospital. Years later, he escapes and goes after his little sister, Laurie Strode. So that's pretty much the same thing as John Carpenter's. The thing in John Carpenter's Halloween, it didn't really give him that much of a backstory. It pretty much just showed what Michael Myers did. It almost felt like we didn't really need to see his backstory because it's almost like a mystery. Like we would hear what he did throughout the movie in John Carpenter's remake, but in Rob Zombie, they visually show us. And that's what I like. I like how they gave him a little backstory and what he did and what made him be this way. Positives, I do love the way how Michael Myers look, how he's big and scary compared to Nick Castle's Michael Myers. Tyler Maine's Michael Myers make Nick Castle's Michael Myers look like nothing. Makes him look like just a dude that stands with a mask and breathes very heavily. Tyler Maine's Michael Myers is stupid scary, but we'll talk about that in a little. About this movie, it's Okay, Rob Zombie's Halloween is not the best, but it's certainly not the worst either, because there are some aspects that are good. But the thing for me is that its pacing is incredibly slow. It's very slow, and I do like the way how the concept it reached up to the climax. And when it comes to these characters, these peoples, the casting is fine, but the acting is fine, but it's just the way how these characters are written. Like Dr. Sam Loomis, I'm not feeling this Dr. Sam Loomis that much compared to the other one, because it's almost the disappointing thing about Dr. Sam Loomis in this one and Rob Zombie's remake is how he tries to help him, but once he becomes an adult 15 years later, it's like he gives up on him. In John Carpenter's remake, he never gave up on him. He would haunt Michael Myers down. In Rob Zombie's, it's almost like he interrogated him till he became an adult, gave up, told people about Michael Myers, and tries to play victim. The pacing is just a little too slow. It kind of loses my attention. It is almost like Michael Myers is literally the saving grace of this movie for him killing. Because if I'm be completely honest, these characters, they're unlikable. I don't really like these characters that much, because they're just flat, you know. I'm not feeling, personally for me, I'm not feeling these characters. Not because that they're terrible no, they're not terrible actors at all. It's the way how they're written. To be honest, their characters that they're written is so flat. You know, that's why I kind of lose my attention, because it's almost like they're just dull, you know, and I don't really feel that intense from them, except for Laurie Strode and Sam Loomis, kinda. But overall, I just think not just Laurie Strode in them, but Laurie Strode's character portrayed by Scout Taylor Compton was great and phenomenal, and I do love her intensity when it comes to the scary parts. When Michael Myers is chasing her, she's just screaming. You feel that intensity. But when it comes to other characters, they're just unlikable and they're just flat and dull. Like whenever there's a scene without Michael Myers in it, I just get bored. Like Michael Myers is probably the saving grace of this movie, portrayed by Tyler Mane. Now let's talk about him. Tyler Mane killed it as Michael Myers. But my con with him as Michael Myers is that it takes that suspense away. In John Carpenter's Halloween, it's supposed to feel like a mystery, a suspense. Why? Because it's almost throughout the sequel of Michael Myers, and even the one in 2018, there was always a mystery of us feeling and thinking if Michael Myers is like more than human, like a superhuman. But in the Rob Zombie's version, it takes all of that away, because it's almost like we could just see him as more than human. Look at this image. You see how tall that dude is? That dude is 6'8". That is real tall. And plus, he used to be a wrestler. Not Michael Myers, Tyler Mane. He used to be a wrestler. Like, he's buff, big, strong, tall, very tall. So, of course, it's going to take all that suspense away. And also, when it comes to us being scared, we're scared of him just by looking at him. Like, if we just take one look, we're going to be scared. We're going to take off. Like, let's be honest here. If we see Nick Castle's Michael Myers standing in front of us, we will not be scared unless he attacks us. Compared to Tyler Mane's Michael Myers, if you saw him, you're going to turn around and sprint away in milliseconds, because we have that fear just by seeing him. I mean, you'll have fear by seeing Nick Castle's Michael Myers as well, but you'll mostly have that real fear when he really does something. Because, like I said, Michael Myers is suspenseful. He's like a mystery. Like, what made him this way? Like when you shoot him and he disappears, or if you shoot him, he cannot die, or like whatever you try to do, he cannot die. That's why John Carpenter's Michael Myers is a bit better than Tyler Mane's. Tyler Mane's Michael Myers is better than Nick Castle's when it comes to appearance, because I do like the way how he looks, like how dirty and the knife. He looks dope. But Nick Castle's, it just has that suspense in that mystery that we cannot find out. But in Michael Myers of Tyler Mane, it throws that all away. It makes us just feel like we have that fear by seeing him, and it's almost like we see the Invincible already. Like, we look at him, he's fucking huge and strong and big as a fucking truck. I don't fucking know. Like a bodybuilder. Like, that's crazy. Let's talk about the killings. Killings in Rob Zombie's Halloween, bruh, it is not a joke. He would bash people's heads to the back of the wall, hit kids with sticks, slice people's throats off, pinning a person to the wall with their knife, and they're just dangling like a prop. And I don't see how a kitchen knife can hold an average body weight. Because let's face it here, in real life, if you try to do that, that knife's gonna break. No, better yet, it's not even gonna make you stick. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, this movie's crazy, man. It's crazy, but it's not. The killings in this movie is ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of blood, a lot of crazy stuff. But Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is a lot worse than that. A lot worse than the first one. In John Carpenter's Halloween, it's subtle. It doesn't really have that. It doesn't have that much blood. It almost feels like a PG-13 type horror movie, just because like it just don't have that blood and all. And that don't bother me at all, cause I love John Carpenter's Halloween. Like, come on, it's a classic. Like, how can you not love that one, bro? Like, that's one of the best legendary ones out of all these horror movies today. Like, let's face it, come on now. Halloween 2, which is my personal favorite one, that's when it started having all that blood. That's when it started having all that blood, which felt like some people thought you didn't really need it. Or some people like me were just okay with it, like I didn't care. But Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, in my opinion, I don't think that it's terrible. I don't think that it's horrible. I just think that it's fun. It's a fun horror movie, like, you know, just to watch with friends. And if you want to be scared the crap out of, go ahead, go for it. Personally, for me, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. It's okay. Even though the plot and the concept and the pacing is very slow and the characters are kind of flat, I still like it because because I love the cinematography, I love the backstory, and I love how Michael Myers became how he became in the Rob Zombie remake. It's fun, enjoyable, and watchable. I would say that if you want to watch it, go for it. Knock yourself out. Go buy it on DVD, order it from Amazon, buy it from Walmart, Target, Goodwill, wherever. You'll probably like it. If also, like, to the Rob Zombie fans that love his music, like Living Dead Girl, Dragula, all of his other songs, you'll probably love his movies if you're a fan of Rob Zombie, not just by his music or his movie, but as a person, you'll love this movie. Because I mean, I do like his movies. I'm not like a diehard fan, but they're enjoyable to watch. Like, I'll watch it just to give it a good laugh, because I mean, he does be making some horror comedy stuff. And I mean, you can't call it a Rob Zombie movie if his wife's not in it, Sherry Moon Zombie. His wife's is in every movie he directs. damn near. I believe every movie he directs, she's in it. Pretty much the same cast. Pretty much. So I mean, it is what it is. I personally don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I like it. It's alright. I'll watch it. I'll watch it, be entertained and be scared and all. It is what it is, you know? Yeah. So, that's it. Now, what I'm going to do next is after this video, I'm gonna go see the movie Countdown. And Countdown is movies that involve this app thingy, and I'm gonna see it and I'm gonna review it tomorrow. Happy Halloween. Until next time.